spending all day and like not being able to see outside is a little bit.
Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first thing we're going to do is to approve the minutes, and I believe they're from January 19th, and they're attached in your package. I'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Okay. Any changes, additions, recommendations to those minutes?
I noticed tonight for the first time, and I just looked at it last time, we don't have our school representative attending the meetings in our minutes. We should have,
Okay.
so I don't know,
Okay,
the school representative, sure.
good point. Good catch.
Yeah, and Alina's name is spelled wrong. I'll make sure that
Spelled wrong.
Jennifer has that.
That. Anything else? If not, approval of the minutes. All approved, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody abstaining? I will. That takes care of that. Next, part of the meeting agenda is project updates. Greg, could you lead us through that?
Sure. We had a pretty good month last month, and I think everybody was quite excited. We were able to open the elementary gym ahead of schedule, and had a great little opening ceremony, and got to watch some very talented kids do jump rope demonstrations.
Just one second, guys, for those of you who weren't there, it was absolutely fantastic to see the kids' faces. They did a good job. There were 500 kids there, I guess, in the whole school. And the mouths that were open and the wows and everything that came into the gym was just quite extraordinary.
Thank you.
You can watch it on Channel 13. Channel 13 filmed it, so you can see some video on the TV station if you haven't had the chance.
I have two grandkids that were there, a kindergartner and a first grader, and he was still talking about it 3 days later.
It's a beautiful space. It really came out gorgeous. As we continue, as you know, we've had to make a temporary serving line at the elementary school due to some sewer line issues in our kitchen. That kitchen project, because of that, has allowed us to move that construction of our kitchen area ahead on the schedule. They've now demoed the whole area, ran all the new drain lines, and actually poured the concrete floor for the new kitchen. And so that's up and in place and moving forward. Our freezers and coolers have been up and running, and actually the freezer is stocked with food or frozen food that they don't need to get to every day, but they do have access to it through the back side of the building. And access will continue to get better and better, obviously, as the project goes forward. We continue to work on expanding our security and surveillance systems as part of this, which was all part of the original construction project, and those are moving quite well ahead. At the high school, as everybody knows, we've had some wonderful times with the temporary boiler at the high school. Pleased to say that Ekman, with their subcontractors, were able to move ahead and get our permanent boilers, or two out of the three boilers, up and running, the gas-fired boilers. So that is now what is providing the heat to the building. Gives us a little more stable heat source than we've been experiencing with our temporary boilers. Floors in we'll call it the West Addition, have been poured on part of the area, and as you can see, the building's starting to be enclosed on that side. Some of you were able to take a tour today and see some of that high school additions and where we're at. A lot of the areas are all sheetrocked, painted. Actually, the tile flooring in the kitchen, new kitchen area is actually being installed as we speak. And so that's moving ahead quite well. And then the feedback we're getting from a lot of this stuff is really positive. We've had a lot of people that have come and taken a look at things and had some pretty good positive results. So moving forward as we have been, we're finding that we're able to catch up, or I shouldn't say catch up, or move ahead in certain areas at a higher rate due to some well-timed or well-placed parts of the building that we could get into quicker. And elementary school is a great example of that, being 2 weeks ahead on the gymnasium. An unfortunate event with the kitchen has actually allowed us to move that schedule up. So I think overall we've moved ahead. I don't have a ton of changes for you or a ton of updates because it's more of, walls being put up and sheetrock being put on the walls. But things are moving forward. Most of the rough-ins for the electrical and plumbing in both buildings are well into their stages. The elementary school rough-ins are actually, in this case, the 2 additions are all completed. So that's going ahead quite well.
I think at the April meeting as well, probably not next month, but at the April meeting, we ought to be able to walk you through sort of the next phasing plan so that you can anticipate what's coming through the end of the school year and more importantly, summer and into the fall.
Has moving up the kitchen construction changed the dollars associated with the sewer issues?
It hasn't changed the dollars with it. It just allowed to gain access to the space, and it's actually helping in some timing on other areas where we were going to be really tight of trying to get things done.
So not a cost burden?
Not a cost savings, but more of a time savings in some areas. As we know, the school sewer line that was approved by the school board does impact timing. So anything that we can do to readjust and try to make it work better is one of the goals without interrupting educational processes and operations. That's my report for this meeting.
Mary, update on the monthly report, update?
It's attached. I think everyone's seen it in advance. I'm happy to answer any questions, but it, again, just sort of updates the progress that we made over the last month. And Greg summarized that, and you can see where we stand with bond interest at this time, about $259,000 as of the end of January. And you can see where we are with funds remaining. There was no change to the change logs in the month of January, as I recall.
That is correct.
No change to change logs.
Anything else? I think this is gonna be a real short meeting. One thing that you may have noticed, is that the, total school contingency, at the last meeting was around $70,000. Now it's about 161. The reason for that is the school board last week, or at its last meeting, approved taking the approximately $100,000 out of the operating budget, where it was previously
The sewer repair.
designated.
The sewer line.
Sewer line. It was previously designated in the contingency line. So we took it out of contingency, took it out of contingency and operating budget. So that's why it's $100,000 higher. I hope I'm clear on that.
We talked about that at previous meetings. Essentially, the issue being it was a known repair. It was something that had to be addressed. It wasn't anticipated as part of the project. We had funds available in the operating budget, and the board decided it made sense to use those operating budget funds rather than tap into the contingency, which is really still there to protect us through the rest of the construction that we have some distance to travel with.
And just a question, and I may ask this every time because I'm not sure I retain it, but on page 2 of the project update, project is 946, which I'm assuming the sale of the garage is the only revenue.
Correct.
Okay,
About $3,500.
okay. And so we're not including, because that still has to be voted on, the interest?
That's correct. That would have to be approved by warrant article, by voters. And the board did not put a warrant article forth this year, so you'll have to look at that for the next year.
Okay. And the number that we're anticipating at this point may be in that kitty?
I would say probably in the vicinity of 400,000. I mean, the amount you're going to collect in interest is going to be scaling down from what you had over this year because the amount of funding you have available is scaling down, right? You're spending those funds up along the way.
Right. And so if we looked at a potential additional contingency, depending on whether the warrant article was put forward, that's what the potential wiggle room is.
Yes, potentially. Again, subject to voter approval.
And what's the timing like? I'm not remembering the time frame in terms of completion, but if that's something that could go into some of the, what are we calling it?
Contingency?
The contingency and.
You're talking about the project alternates?
Project alternatives,
Yeah, I mean, you can't, the voters wouldn't be able to approve it until next March, and
Right.
construction wraps up next April, so I would say there may be some things at that point that are left for you to tackle, but, there are things like the courtyard that can be done after the fact. There may be some other pieces, there may be some additional furnishings or those kinds of things that you could put forth in terms of the actual construction. Most of that's done at that stage.
But as a result of that, the timing issue by not approving it this year is that next year, decisions will be made without knowing that that money is available, sticking to the original
Right,
budget.
Yep.
because it hasn't been approved yet by the voters. Well,
I have one other question. So
Sure.
in terms of the temporary boiler, I remember there was some concerns about it. Is it gone? Is it still here? Are we still paying for it?
It's not running. It is still here. Ekman's in the process of getting it removed. The trailer and then the tanks have to go, but we're using the new boilers at this stage. We're feeding the new boilers. So whether the temporary boiler is here or not isn't the issue. The fact that we're not using it is the good news.
If you'll notice, they've started to, actually, the process of, where we had 3 temporary oil tanks, you see that enclosure's been opened up in preparation so that they can remove that and then remove the trailer and have it shipped back to Connecticut.
We were leasing it?
Ekman is as part of their contract.
Oh, okay.
It's under our contract. The goal is gonna be we'll have it out by March first, but it can't move until those tanks move, Greg was just talking about. Depending on ice and snow, whatever, that's the goal, we wanna get it out of there also. It's logistics on trying to get it moved. We went with the new boilers, and accelerated that time. It was more of a, comfort level, just the new boilers felt like being more reliable source. So that's why we accelerated that work and then made the temporary connection for those boilers to your existing system. If we get that out of the way, it's not functional.
John, is the lessening of the use, or lessening of the contract going to provide us some refund?
We actually spent, the money we might have saved, we spent to speed up
Expedite the schedule.
original boilers, get them running. We felt for our own sanity, but for everybody's well-being, it was better to get those going, so that's how we kind of reinvested, which is why we want to get the boiler out of there too. There's
So-
no other choice.
So are they refunding you money, and you're going to,
No, we're short, we're not, hopefully not renting it for the month of March. We want
Right.
to get it out.
Right.
Which is money we used, to put forward to what we did.
It was a trade-off,
We're
in other
not-
words.
We're not gonna pay them rent, so that we use that money to put forward the boilers.
I gotcha.
Way it's not going to us.
I understand, yeah, that makes sense.
Right, but there was some unreliability issues.
Correct.
Correct.
And we were able to access the new boilers for what it would have cost us to rent
Yep.
the temporary boiler for an additional period of time.
Yeah, I just have to take Al's meaning participle and say if they were unreliable and that's what caused it to speed up.
Well,
We failed today, we'll take a day's mental look.
It's a $7,000 or $8,000 a month lease, right? I mean, it's not
Yeah.
tons, yeah.
Again, it's done because we
Yep.
felt the reliability of the new ones better suited what we were trying to do.
Run school.
The new boilers are propane fired.
That is correct.
Are the permanent tanks in?
Correct. Yes, out back. Okay.
So just one other question, how many snow days have we had? One?
0 snow
Zero
days,
snow days.
1 boiler day,
One boiler.
and the elementary school had 1 sewer day.
So, is there any concern about the timeline? Because I know it's really important for you guys to get in quickly in June.
We
We've
can't
learned
control
over the
it.
years at school, we'll figure it out when it stops
Yep.
snowing.
Yep.
Because every time we try to plan, Mother Nature has different ideas. So
If you
just
don't
make it
use
through.
all the snow days, do you call school a few days earlier, or it's?
Everybody knows when school really ends. If only that were true. The students attend for 181 days, and then Ekman can get to work. And as of right now, that's June 21st or 24th, depending on which school you're in.
Gotcha.
Question, I know Meredith, you talked about, timeline for kind of moving things around in this next phase. Is that being developed, or do we know yet whether or not that is gonna involve relocation of the portables, or is that still another possibility for?
We are not expecting to move, we're not expecting to move a portable to the junior senior high for use next year. We do have to get the portables out of the elementary school ASAP in order to do all of the parking lot and site work that needs to happen there over the summer, which means moving things out of them as quickly as possible. The bigger challenge with the portables is if we can't find anyone to buy them, even for $1 or $2 and take them away, we're going to be paying to move those away potentially, which is going to cost us what we had already in that contingency. The RFP, I think, for those, if anybody wants to purchase them, will be going out the end of this week. We've reached out through the state to try to make other school districts aware, but it will be going up on a bid list, and we've reached also out to the Schiavi, who's the company that we purchased them from originally, who had the warranties, to see if they have any interest or know of anyone with interest. So,
I know we discussed initially that we may have to move them and then do it twice.
yes.
So that, and I don't know.
That
if
is
we
off
had
the
that in
table.
budget or that was one of the conditions, but it sounds like we may be saving one of the moves.
Yes,
Over
we
the line.
hope so, but if we don't get anyone to come and take them away, we could be spending those funds for removal and disposal.
Any other questions?
Just looking for the nickels.
I'm always hesitant to do this, but I don't get to chair the meeting very often. And I just really want to compliment Ekman, Julianne and Danny, the site supervisors for the elementary school and the high school. I have the pleasure of attending the individual site meetings every other week. They're just terrific. They're on top of it. They handle the personnel issues and the debate issues extremely well. I should never compliment an employee of the town, but thank goodness Greg's here. His information, administrative capabilities to keep track of all this stuff. There's never a site meeting that I've been to so far where someone's brought up an issue that Greg didn't have wasn't on top of, didn't have an answer to. So please don't stop doing what you're doing, but I really think you folks are top notch. With that, anything else? Make a motion to adjourn the meeting at, I don't have a clue because I can't read the clock. 5:20.
The clock
Really,
actually
5:27.
It is a new record.
Do we have a motion?
Second, anybody?
Second.
I mean, motion, anybody?
Russ?
Motion, I'll motion.
Second? Okay. Thank you very much.
It was so fast out, we may want to remove Mike.